Who's ready for another classic Thor adventure?
Hello, Adam Ryan Donato.
Hello, everybody. I am here back again to talk about the new movie of the week, which is Thor, Love and Thunder. I was able to see this quite early, but I had to keep tight-lipped about it for a fat minute. Kind of happy that I did, because I didn't have very good things to say about this movie. Now, keep in mind, I was very excited for this movie because I'm a big fan of Taika Waititi. That being said, not a huge fan of Thor Ragnarok. I think that they mishandled Loki's character. While he is funny and generally good in this movie, I think it's such a missed opportunity from where they left the character in Thor the Dark World. I think Hela is a very boring, generic villain. The humor, definitely, especially with Thor's character, brought out his personality a lot more and made the character translate a lot better to audiences, but I just didn't think it was like the masterpiece that everyone else is saying that it is. I think I have it just outside my top 10, right around movies like No Way Home, where I'm like, everyone else loves this, but there's problems. I have gotten more into it recently, and I did rewatch a couple of the Thor movies before this one, and I was very excited for this because when it comes to the MCU Phase 4 release schedule, this is one of the more notable tentpoles on there, alright? It's definitely not Black Widow. Shang-Chi, no. Eternals, no. Spider-Man, big one. We know Spider-Man, right? Doctor Strange, alright, but Thor, we know Thor. We've been having Thor movies for like 11 years now, so this is a character I care a lot about, and I'm very invested in, especially seeing where they go with the character past Endgame, because Endgame obviously was supposed to be the end, or maybe not supposed to be the end, but just felt like the end of this big saga. And a lot of people's problems is that we didn't know where we're going from here on out, and this movie definitely makes me feel like they don't really know where they're going from here on out. I was specifically excited about this because Jojo Rabbit's one of my favorite movies, my favorite movie of 2019. Taika Waititi, I think, is a very smart creator in film, so I thought he would learn from his experiences on the first Thor movie and make a movie that was better and improved upon it. And I thought they were going that right direction, because whereas they did have Cate Blanchett that played Thor's sister, the villain in the first one, now they've got Christian Bale, who's in that same echelon of high-class actor. And it looked fun. It's leaning into this like Guardians of the Galaxy-esque punk rock throwback theme. And I'll just get right to it. So the main shtick of this movie, right, is that Jane Foster, who is Thor's girlfriend in the first two Thor movies, and they bring her up in Age of Ultron until they just don't say anything about her until Thor Ragnarok, and they're like, yeah, we broke up off screen and it's weird, whatever. She's back here. People who are familiar with the comics know that she got cancer and that made her worthy of the hammer. We know that the hammer is gone in our universe because Hela, Thor's sister, crushed it. Not only is the hammer back, but Natalie Portman's back. In the trailer, they're like, ha ha ha, I don't even miss you. It's not like it's been 7 years, 4 days, and 36 minutes. Like, obviously, you're gonna get back together with her. Like, you like her, we can clearly tell. And that's one thing I will say that I enjoyed about the movies. I enjoyed that it was a romantic comedy first, before it was anything else. Because the main plotline of the movie is, wow, Thor is really struggling with the fact that his ex-girlfriend's back. And not only is his ex-girlfriend back, but his hammer is also like his ex. And that's actually a really fun thing that they do in the movie, because he's with Stormbreaker, but the hammer's here, and he's like, does it still call to me? You know, it's kind of cute how they play on the whole, like, reuniting with your ex, because it seems like he's more caught up on the hammer than he is on her. That was a funny aspect about the movie. I appreciate that. Everything else with Jane Foster was annoying and stupid. I genuinely think that if you asked Natalie Portman if she was proud of her performance in this, she would say no. She wouldn't even remember that she was in the movie. There was an article that came out that was like, one of her scenes was shot in a Best Buy parking lot, and I'm like, that's not something to brag about when you're like this big tentpole blockbuster movie, guy. One thing that I feel like people really liked about Ragnarok, because I'm not someone who hates the first two Thor movies. I even defend Thor the Dark World. While it is a bottom 5 for sure, I defend it as not being too terrible, because at least all the Loki scenes are awesome. And the first Thor is actually a really good movie, but Ragnarok, people are like, oh, well, it kind of throws out all that boring, lame stuff, you know, like Jane Foster, and we're done with Earth, and we're on, you know, this big cosmic adventure, which is my favorite part too. I'm really happy that we're out in space and fantasy land on Asgard. Great, good. It's a fantasy movie. I don't want to be on Earth, okay? I'm sick of it. So that was really nice, but they bring back the old characters from Thor, and it's just like, I thought we agreed that we did not like this. And it's almost like a member berries thing. Like, hey, remember this character? Remember this thing for the first two Thor movies? And it's like, why are we reminding people of the first two Thor movies? They spend a lot of time recapping the first two Thor movies, which is so annoying. I had the same problem when I watched Kenobi show because they would do recaps of the prequels, and I'm like, just watch the fucking prequels. This is already very easy to understand anyways, and it's in general popular culture knowledge. Just sitting here recapping the first two movies. First of all, if you haven't seen them, I'm sorry, but this really isn't that hard to understand anyways, so just watch the fucking movie. Like, oh, he was the ex-girlfriend. Okay, boom, that's all I need to know. And it's like funny because it's like Korg doing the whole like, yeah, back in the first Thor movie, these are the things that happened. It's like, yeah, you're cute and funny. But they do several recaps the first few movies, and it's just so annoying. Like in Endgame, when they recap Thor the Dark World, it was kind of funny because it was like, Thor, what can you tell us about the ether? And it's like, oh shit, I have to remember Thor the Dark World for a second. It's like a joke. They make a joke out of it. But here, it's just gotten old. It's just gotten old and I'm tired of it. Sick and tired of it. Jane was an annoying part about this movie. I mean, besides the fact that I like it's a rom-com and I thought that was a funny play with the hammer. Other than that, no. Bad movie. Also, I don't like that she's just like Lady Thor. I don't know, like give her own thing. Don't make her just like the female version. I know that there's Superman and Superwoman, but like there's Superman and Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? That she's her own thing. She's an independent character. It just was really lame and cringy. It was so cringy because like you never forget your first. These are all things from the trailer, by the way. I'm not spoiling anything, but like her little one-liners and crap, they're just so lame, bad, dumb, and I don't think she wants to be here. I think this is a paycheck. Not to mention a character from the first two Thor movies shows up and I hate everything. Literally the Jar Jar Binks of the MCU shows up. It's the most annoying, worst thing I've ever seen in my life. So Jane sucked. Ooh, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. So Gore, right? Played by Christian Bale. He is a god slayer, so he was like a dude that worshipped a god. He's with his daughter. She ends up passing away, and then he meets a god, and the god's like, Gore's like, oh, well, then fuck gods. I'm gonna kill gods. They're all selfish bastards. And that opening scene where they explain his motivation is so good. It's so obnoxiously good. And I was like, yeah, we're really revving up for a great Thor movie. Like, this is awesome. Because then we go from there and we're seeing the Guardians, which we see in the trailer. I hope you enjoyed the Guardians part of the movie if you watch the trailers, because they are in and they're out. They're very much so not players in this movie, which is fine. It's much better than Thor Ragnarok, where Thor Ragnarok, in the trailer, they're like, Hulk's gonna be in it. Hulk smash. Like, he's gonna show up and they're gonna fight in the Gladiator arena, like the Planet Hulk movie, you know? Yeah. But here, they're like, oh yeah, the Guardian's gonna show up, and that's what Chris Hemsworth has been up to this whole time. But in Ragnarok, Hulk, when he shows up in the movie, it's like this big moment of like, oh, you gotta fight the challenger. Oh, the great challenger. Oh, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Oh my gosh, there's so much anticipation. And it's like, it's Hulk. You told me. I'm not anticipating shit because you shoved it in my face. And I get it. More people would go see your stupid movie if there was more like cross brand, like, hey, you know the guy from the other movies, he's in this movie now, you know? Here, at least, it's like not a big part of the movie. It's just a very quick, like, this is what he's been up to. Okay, now let's go do our own thing. I'm still very happy and welcoming of the Guardians of the Galaxy and anything. The performance that Christian Bale gives is phenomenal. Great. He looks terrifying. I loved every second that he was on screen. Problem is, he's really not on screen very much. Also, he doesn't really have much of a personal connection against Thor. Yeah, he wants to beat up and kill Thor or whatever, but it's not like, you personally offends me. It's like, oh, well, I hate gods. You're just another one of the gods. Just another god, just like how we're on just another classic Thor adventure. And that's my thesis statement about this movie. I was expecting a big tentpole Marvel film, and I got just another classic Thor adventure. And that's fine. If that's what you're aiming for, cute. But like, one of your best directors is going out here and making another solo film, the first fourth film, besides the Avengers, the first fourth film from a superhero. It is the first fourth film by one singular hero, and you're gonna sit there and waste it on just a little haha, you know, a little fun little thing, I guess. It's cute, it's fine. Just felt so inconsequential to the rest of the MCU, even to Thor. There's a cliffhanger and whatnot of like what Thor's gonna be up to if he's even alive. I don't know, I'm not excited about it. I don't really care. I'll get to that later. Gore's just another villain. I mean, he's better than most MCU villains. You know how we're all like, oh, Malekith is so so bad, and Hell is so bad, and Ronan the Accuser is so bad. He's definitely the best of that type of villain, where he's like a weird one-off, nothing, creepy, serious villain. Who cares? But he's like the best of that kind. That's fine. I guess I'll take it. That's the thing about this movie is like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's good. It's good, I guess. This movie should be a 5 out of 5 for me. It's a character that I have loved since I was a teenager and watched that first movie. Here's my superhero movies from here all the way down past the poster because you can't see. I have a Thor hammer. I have a Thor costume. I almost wore it to the damn premiere. I should be a softball pitch of an audience member, specifically a critic, because this is my type. This is for me, right? Anything below a 5 out of 5 is a disappointment. I give it a 4 because I was giving it the benefit of the doubt because I was like, yeah, I like it, and it went by pretty quick. Generally funny, and there's a lot of things I thought were above average, even though it was like a mid-Marvel movie. And then I found out all the other critics are like, yeah, 3.5. Some even hate it. But yeah, I guess I'm a big fan of the movie, and you've heard me talk about the movie, so oof. Valkyrie, she was there for sure. She was there. She showed up, and she was like in the movie for some amount of time. Korg is in the movie, and they do some kind of fun stuff with him, I guess. Like, he's generally funny and cute throughout. Russell Crowe as Zeus is in the movie, and he has a big long scene in the movie. I saw a Snyder fan that was like complaining about it. It's like, oh, here he plays this like out of shape, like weirdo, old, goofy guy, and in the DCEU, Zeus is like this super cool, awesome, badass, and it's like, I hate that I agree with the Snyder head, but like, yeah, this wasn't it for me. Like, he wasn't funny, he wasn't interesting, he wasn't cool. Russell Crowe was there on set for maybe a day. I kind of wish he wasn't. There's not much else for me to talk about. That's the thing. I said it's short. It went by fast. It's under 2 hours, just under 2 hours, which is annoying because I feel like there's a lot there that should be there. I mean, we do the climax twice. Like, we go to play the place to do the thing, and then we come back, and then we go to the place to do the thing again, the same way, I guess, which is kind of weird and annoying. But if you told me this movie was like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and we added 20 minutes, and it was just 20 minutes of gore, or maybe more scenes where it's gore with Thor, that would be awesome. That would be really cool, because it would bolster up the villain, and it would make me care more about their battle. But no, this movie is very, very short, very quick. It's way more of a romantic comedy and a goofy comedy than it is a fantasy action movie. I mean, it still is, obviously. It's more of a romantic comedy, just like how Ant-Man's more of a heist movie. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's still a superhero movie first and foremost, but like, they're way less occupied with the whole superhero thing and way more occupied with the whole, like, isn't it funny? He clearly wants to be with her. I wonder what women think. Do women like Natalie Portman back in this role as Lady Thor? Are they like happy about that? I'm sure there's cosplayers that'll dress up as her and stuff. Women are generally happy that women are getting starring roles and whatnot. Do you feel pandered to? Because I've seen all this material, interviews and stuff, and I think Taika Waititi was doing a panel with Tessa Thompson and Natalie Portman, and someone asked, how gay is the film? And Natalie Portman goes, so gay. They all freak out, and it's like, yeah, good for you. People in the LGBTQ community, do you feel pandered to, or are you like, yeah, we're being represented, yeah, because Tessa Thompson for like a second said something that makes me think that she might be a lesbian. That's me, baby, so I feel represented. As a straight white dude, it's really not my place to have much of an opinion, so if that makes people happy, great, but my instinct is to say that, great, good, I'm happy you feel represented, and that's awesome. But there is that little like pessimist inside of me that's like, they're just pandering because they want people to pat them on the back. I'm talking about Disney, of course. Disney's just like, hey, look, we have the gay, and then, people are like, oh, good job for Disney for putting in the gay, because we just had the whole Lightyear, oh, no one saw it because there was a lesbian kiss that happened for like 2 seconds. Minions has no gay, so that's why Minions is making money. I just think that's a really stupid, silly thing. I don't know. I really thought we were over the whole like hating gay people thing, because like there's only a whole month. We just came out of a whole entire month, Pride Month. You'd think that we would be past that at this point in time, hating people because they like people of the same gender. Let them like what they like. I don't know. It's really weird and creepy that you're so obsessed with like, hey, who are you dating? Who do you love? Who are you having sex with? I'm really interested in that. That matters to me. That affects me. That impacts me. But also Disney's stupid because they're just like, oh, see, we had a side character that did something totally inconsequential, but it was gay, and we can easily cut it out when we send it to China and Russia. But like for the American audiences, they get the gay. It's just really annoying. Complaining about pandering in an MCU movie is like complaining that your ice cream's cold. The movie's lame. It's really lame and cringy and dumb. And I've heard a lot of people be like, yeah, it's like a kid's movie. And it's like, sure, but these are supposed to be like 4-quadrant superhero big blockbuster tentpole movies. I could see a lot of adults just being like, I'd rather go watch the Minions movie. I don't know, if I'm gonna watch something that's strictly for kids, I'd rather go watch Minions because it saves me half an hour. Super duper disappointing. I'm giving this movie a 4 out of 5, so I guess I generally like it. It's definitely a lot closer to a 3 than it is a 5. I think it's worse than Ragnarok, whereas I think that it improves in certain ways. I do think it's an inferior film overall. I would take it over The Dark World, I guess. I don't know, they're kind of a little similar for me. Well, Thor is better than The Dark World, and this is right around that. I guess I would take the first Thor movie over this, and then I'll take this over The Dark World. So that's where I have it. It's definitely very, very low. In the bottom 10 of the MCU, it's probably like number 10. CGI's terrible. Just a very unambitious cringe fest. That's what Thor Love and Thunder is. I'm not excited about Thor going forward. I don't want another Thor movie. I don't want a Taika movie. I don't want to see Taika do anything big again. I know he's doing the next Star Wars movie, but I don't want it. Go make your indie bullshit for me. I love it. I love your indie bullshit. It's great. Just stop making these big tentpole movies with your relatable humor, bro, and stop laughing at people's names. Haha, your name's Dr. Octopus? That's stupid. Oh, you said a one-liner after you did a cool superhero thing? Ha ha ha, that's so cheesy. Like, you're not funny or cool. You're really fucking lame, and this is why movies like The Batman and The Suicide Squad is consistently outperforming Marvel. Not at the box office, of course, because at the box office they're terrible, but critically, I would much rather gamble on a DC movie than go watch the same standard MCU flick every time. I like Multiverse of Madness more than this, No Way Home more than this, I like Eternals more than this. Shang-Chi, same area for me. I really have no difference between this and Shang-Chi. Obviously, it's better than Black Widow. Most things are. Yeah, ooh, the mighty Thor with the hammer down on this movie. No mercy on you, Marvel. Did you like it? I don't know. It's like the worst 4-star movie I think I've ever seen. It's a fun time, I guess, if you turn your brain off and just enjoy it, I guess. But if you're looking for any kind of like substance, you're shit out of luck, buddy. Okay, this is a very average at best superhero movie. So enjoy it. Thank you so much for listening to me. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what your favorite Thor movie is. I'm gonna end this off by trying to spell Mjolnir. Hopefully it's not written on here. There's some writing on the top, but I don't know what that means. I think it's a J. MJLN. Mjolnir. I think it's IR. Mjolnir. I gotta go by. Thor.